This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
This podcast is brought to you by TeamTrade, a digital solution that helps you hire, optimize, and retain employees. Using psychometric assessments to identify more than 100 professional mindset traits, it gives instant reports you can use to build high-performing teams. Get 2 free profiles today, no commitment, no credit card required, at teamtrait.com. TeamTrait.com. Welcome to the Manage Smarter podcast with hosts C. Lee Smith and Audrey Strong. We're glad you're here for discussions on new ways to manage smarter, hire, develop, and retain talent, improve results, and propel team performance to new heights. This is the Manage Smarter podcast.
Lee, today we have the sales hunter with us, and I know he's got such a large playing field and his expertise is so deep and long. We could do 8 hours with him, but you wanted to start off talking about the sales mindset. And I don't think we've ever really zeroed in on that on this show before.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, there are really 2 ingredients for success in sales that everybody must have. And there are other intangibles, but the 2 most important one, I believe, is you have to have the skill to sell. So you have to have good sales skills, but you also have, more importantly, you need to have the will to sell. I mean, it's like, it has to be, and we pick will because it rhymes with skill, but basically it all comes down to having the proper mindset and, identifying as management and leadership who really has a winning mindset to be successful in sales. And then also then how to develop that so that actually improves over time. And I find that to be challenging in the fact that, salespeople are very prone to burnout, and in all the studies and research that we've done at Sales Fuel. And, it's because they get beaten on, every single day. It can sometimes get discouraging. If you don't have a product that is, where people are lined up with credit cards in hand, or people that they're strongly motivated to buy and they have the money and the budget to buy. If you don't have that, and most salespeople don't or whatever, it can be very taxing over a period of time. So getting them to improve mindset as opposed to going the other direction is a challenge. And I can't wait to talk to Mark about it, that very subject.
Welcome to Manage Smarter, everyone. We are so glad that you're here listening or watching with us today. My name is Audrey Strong. I'm the Senior Vice President of Communications here at Sales Fuel.
And I'm C. Lee Smith. I am the CEO and founder of Sales Fuel.
That's right. So Mark Hunter is our guest today, recognized as an expert in sales, the author of High Profit Prospecting and High Profit Selling. And most recently, his book is entitled A Mind for Sales. There you go. He spent more than 15 years in sales and marketing divisions of 3 Fortune 200 companies. During his career, led many projects, including the creation of a new 200-member sales force. And he sees sales not as a job or even a profession, but as an actual lifestyle. He has a true passion for sales. He's been a consultant and a speaker on 5 continents, 29 countries, received the Certified Speaking Professional designation, and inducted into the Sales Hall of Fame. Well, I mean, Mark, thank you for coming. We're very lucky to have you here with your amazing mind.
I guess I've been busy, but hey, you know what? Sales is fun. Hey, I want to jump right into it because you're talking about process, talking about mindset. Sales is emotional. It is an emotional game we play. So let me tell you something. Your mindset is, I think it's more important than the process. Whoa, yes. Did I drop the mic on that one? Yeah, I'll say that. I think your mindset is more important than the process. You can be a bad process, but give me a great mindset and somehow I'll figure it out. Give me a good process, but a lousy mindset.
Nope.
Crash and burn.
Yeah.
What are the top qualities of the mindset? The top maybe 3, I don't know, pick the number you want to give us that are just mandatory. You have to have them to succeed, or you should just find another line of work.
I'm going to narrow it down to 2.
Oh,
and
great.
It's 1. It's a commitment to helping people, being focused on people. If you are not focused on helping people, that's where your mindset is. And to get that mindset, you got to be focused. You got to be focused. What does focus mean? That means you're using your time wisely. You're not getting caught up in shiny objects. You are focused on who you can help and you are committed to helping them. That's what having the right mindset is all about.
And that human connection becomes even more important in the age of AI, right?
Oh, without a doubt. It's funny. I really see this being a yin and a yang, because the more we go over here to AI, oh, AI is going to do everything for us. That's the yin. The yang is the personal connection. And it's literally becoming more important than ever. And I think going forward, we're going to see it. The bigger AI becomes, and we can't stop the train. It's there. It's going to mandate that personal connection, that personal conversation, authenticity is more important than ever.
You said that's why you sell the outcome and not the product.
Yeah.
And that maintains the connection.
Yes, that is so critical, because here's the deal. Everybody's got the same product. Everybody's got the same, but people don't want products. What they want is they want solutions. They want outcomes. We as salespeople, the more we can focus on helping you understand what the outcome is that you're looking for. What's the problem? What's the need that you have? If I can focus on that, that's the outcome. Then I can do business with you. Who cares about the widget I sell? Who cares about the software I have? It's the outcome. That's what people are looking for.
It's that old adage of you don't buy the shovel, you buy the hole.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And the problem is, too many times salespeople are digging themselves a hole because all they're doing is talking about the shovel.
I like how you turned that around. Very good.
And you
It's
said
amazing what
it's separate from the mindset is completely separate from the process. So whatever process I use, and you said anybody who's only doing transactional sales is going to be replaced by AI. Like, you need to switch to the model that you're talking about.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Transactional means that you're selling to somebody. That's out. What we want to do is sales is what we do for someone, for someone. That's where we're now focused on the outcome. And, I want a good process. I certainly do, because if I'm going to be focused, remember I said earlier, it's about, being focused on the other person, being focused on people, and being focused. That means I've got a routine. So you're right. I do want a process, but that's way down the ladder. That's down the ladder. Because I have found that as long as I am committed, I had coffee this morning with a gentleman, and it's one of those things. Why is this on my calendar? Why is this on my calendar? Like, I got more important things to do, but I sit down, I have coffee. And I was committed to that. And wow, it was an unbelievable 50 minutes.
Sometimes, I find that if I look on something on my calendar or whatever, and I'm not very excited about it. I mean, like you, for example, you were on my calendar. I was very excited, because you and I have talked, through the years, various conferences we've been at and everything like that. But sometimes there's things on my calendar that I'm just like, oh my God, why am I why is this, why am I doing this? I've got other things to do and everything like that. And it almost never fails that those conversations actually turn out to be more interesting, more fruitful, than the ones I was excited about. And I don't know why that is, but it's like, is that something that you found that happens to you?
Yes, because it's when I'm committed to the person. I sat down for coffee with this gentleman, and he sat down, and I'm kind of scratching my head. But we get about 10 minutes in the conversation, and I go, "Wow, this is really cool." He wound up making some connections for me, and connected the dots on some people I know, and I was able to help him on so forth. And it just there was a chemistry, but I could easily have gone into, oh, this is going to be a waste of time. Man, should I just blow them off?
We overcame our own mindset.
Yes, yes, yes. And this is why what you have to realize is whatever conversation you're in, you have to be in the moment. You have to be in the moment. Because I could have sat down and said, okay, man, how am I going to get this thing done as quickly as possible? I hope my phone rings. I hope it pulls me out of this conversation so I get on to something else. But no, you stay laser focused. And when you stay laser focused, it's amazing. Our questions became much more insightful, much more just compelling. We were building on each other's comments, and it worked. And that's what a sales call is. That's what a sales call is. When we go into it, and I firmly believe the attitude you have going into a sales call predetermines the results you're going to get coming out. Whoa, predetermines the results. Yeah, it does. Because when you go in with the right attitude, it's amazing. Fortunately, within 2 minutes, I was able to correct my attitude. I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is going to be good. And I was able to really have a productive conversation. We already agreed we're going to connect again. We are going to connect again. That's what I love. Yeah.
I want to go into how I started the show and ask you these two questions. In your mind, what can a sales manager do to identify people that have the right mindset before they hire them? I mean, that's what led me to create Team Trait, for example. But what are the things that you think sales managers should look for? And then once they're hired, how do we get them to keep that good mindset and actually improve upon that, or keep them from developing a woe is me or I'm a victim kind of mentality?
Wow, two separate pieces. The one actually
Totally.
does dovetail into the other, but let's talk about the hiring. I want to ask them, talk to me about some challenging situations you've been in. Talk to me about, and I'm listening. Are they addressing it from a positive standpoint or from a negative standpoint? Because again, I don't have room for negativity in my organization. If they're addressing it, and I don't care, just hey, tell me about some challenges you've had in life, some problems, and how did you address them? How did you come through it? I'm listening for their walk on that journey. How did they travel through it? What were the resources they used? And again, is it a positive or is it a negative? Now, it may be a very dark situation that they went through, but again, are they putting a positive spin on it? This is going to tell me how they're going to respond, because not every sales call goes good. Now, let's talk about the flip side of the question, the second half. We only got 20 minutes. We got to move fast, right?
Talk fast, Mark.
This whole thing, you as a manager, I'm going to let every manager off the hook. You can't motivate anybody. You can't motivate anybody. All you can do is create an environment for the person to motivate themselves. You see, if you've hired right, you create the environment. What is that environment? That means you are creating an environment that you're supporting them, you're helping them. You are helping them, become a better salesperson because you're helping to educate them, you're coaching them, you're training them. You're helping them because you're keeping them away from garbage stuff. You're not, you are keeping other departments in the company away from them to say, hey, you don't need to answer. You don't need to talk to salespeople about that. Somebody else can. You are keeping them focused. And more importantly, what you're doing is you're keeping them focused in a positive manner by you're helping them celebrate their success and keeping them focused. And if you've hired the person with the positive attitude and the great outlook on things, guess what, kids? Good things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm. We like your phrase, prospecting with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
What's your definition of that, and how does it get put into motion?
Yeah, prospecting with integrity. People, I've had a couple people say, well, that's an oxymoron. How can you do that? First of all, hold on. Let's define what prospecting is. Prospecting is about helping others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. That's my definition of sales. But now let's bring it down further. If I have the ability to help you, I have an obligation to reach out to you. Because if I don't, I'm doing you a disservice. So when I'm prospecting, I'm not prospecting the free world. I'm prospecting people who I know line up to my ICP, my ideal customer profile. And so therefore, I know that there are outcomes that they're probably looking for that I can help them with. See, now I have an obligation to reach out to them. Prospecting with integrity is about understanding that when you say something, I'm going to listen to what you say. I'm going to care about what you say. I'm not racing to the demo. I'm racing to listen. I'm racing to listen to you. And what this also means is that I'm going to make sure that I deliver on whatever commitments, and I do not deliver on false expectations. So many salespeople, what they do is they paint this picture. Oh yeah, we can do this. We can do this. We can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't do that. So it really is setting the table, because what I'm doing is I'm creating a relationship and I'm creating trust. You know what's interesting? In the absence of trust, price is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I want to come close to getting my full price, which I believe every salesperson can, if you sell on value, I got to create a level of trust. Because also when I create a level of trust, it's amazing how more open and candid the conversations are, because we're not blowing smoke at each other.
Right.
So when you, let's talk about, well, by the way, Audrey, let me just share something real quick. This is a little story, but I think it really makes the point. It's like Audrey knows that when, I prepare, for every podcast interview that I do, just like, every sales call. Audrey and I also collaborate on the preparation, but she knows that I come into every sales conversation, every podcast interview, I have one question, and was the question I just asked you a moment ago. And then the rest of the conversation is really about where it goes. It's what you want to talk about, and then I'm listening all the way through. I'm getting curious and I'm asking follow-up questions, and that's just how the conversation goes. And I think that goes hand in glove with what you're talking about, how you believe sales conversations should go. I mean, it's just based off of all the experience you have, all the experience that I have. And that really exemplifies the point. So my question then as a follow-up to what you just said is, can you have the attitude that sales is a numbers game and still be able to prospect with integrity?
Yes, sales is a numbers game because at the end of the day, you got to make quota. I totally get that. But what happens is we wind up putting our focus on the wrong numbers. And the whole idea is this: just because it can be measured doesn't mean it should be measured. That is so false. I want to measure only those activities that are absolutely going to drive me to my sales. Let's back up the bus. Early on, if I'm a new salesperson, I'm going to be much more focused on the number of activities. Because I don't have anything in my pipeline. So I'm probably going to measure the number of phone calls I make, the number of emails I send out, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to celebrate my wins. Hey, I made 20 phone calls today. I sent out 25 emails, whatever. I'm going to celebrate that. As you become more successful and you begin to develop more in your pipeline, you're now going to be focused on a smaller set of metrics. For instance, in my own business, in my own job, I have one, and my team holds me accountable to this. I have one metric, 5 conversations a day. 5 conversations a day. I know that if I have 5 conversations a day, my company's pipeline is going to be full. It is going to be full. Now, it doesn't mean I close 5 deals a day. No, because I may converse with somebody 5, 10 times. But it means over the course of the week, we're going to wind up sending out a couple proposals, and we're going to close 50% of those. And that's all we really need is one new deal a week, according to our business model. So this is the whole thing that it's 5 conversations. Now, to get to 5 conversations, I got to do X number of emails. But I'm not measuring that because I'm a little further along in the sales process. So it's going to vary based on where that salesperson is in there. Because early on, like I said, it's going to be the number of emails because you're not going to close a deal and they're going to get very discouraged. So I, as a manager, I'm going to celebrate. Hey, congratulations. You made your 35 calls today. You made your 20. Congratulations. This is what's key. Every salesperson at the end of the day has to have something to celebrate. Leaders, you've got to give your people something to celebrate. Regardless of how small the success might have been, allow them to celebrate something. Why?
It's like golf, right? It's
It
like
is
you
like
go
golf.
out there and you hang around for 17 holes and you make that one brilliant shot that you remember, you celebrate, that keeps you coming back.
Golf is an emotional game, right?
Yeah, it is.
Right? Yes.
It's a mental game more than anything.
It is a mental. It's that stupid little white ball. Yeah. And stop and think about this for a moment. This is what we as leaders, sales leaders, have to be helping our salespeople with. So I may have this complex process, but I'm going to have different salespeople focused on different numbers, different metrics, depending on where they are in their process, in their success rate, in their longevity, in their knowledge, in their skill set, in their competency of what they're doing. And that runs counter. I know that runs counter, but I believe that's how we get maximum results out of our sales force.
So everybody's scorecard looks a little different.
Yes. But think about this. You would expect, I don't even own clubs anymore. I am not that good
Yeah, I'm terrible.
So I would be ecstatic if I could chip to the green. Somebody else might say, no, I'm only going to be ecstatic if I can drive to the green.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Why should I hold them to the same standard? You want to demotivate people? No, hold them to the same standard.
We've had meetings. We got a few minutes left. This is the fastest 20 minutes in sales conversation ever in the history of the world. But Lee and I, we have had hour-long meetings on this topic, and we swore we would ask you the question.
Oh, no.
That here we go. When your definition, Mark, does a marketing qualified lead become a sales qualified lead? Can't wait to hear.
Sure, I'll answer it.
Okay.
3 things have to take place. 1, I know that I'm talking to a qualified buyer. In other words, either it's somebody who is the decision maker or is so influential in the decision maker. 2, they have shared with me a piece of proprietary information. In other words, information not known publicly. Information that's not, because that means there's a little bit of relationship, trust. And 3, I understand the timeline with which they're going to make a decision. When I know those things, then they are absolutely an SQL. Up to that point, they are an MQL, period.
Okay, we're going to hang up on you and get the sales guys in here for a meeting.
Yeah. How is that for a 30-second answer to a very complex question?
I've never heard it defined that way before. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Lee, thoughts?
No, I think that one of the things that I see in salespeople that we coach, consult, heck, we even had on the staff is that this, people talk a lot about sales and marketing alignment. And what I find curious is the follow up on that is that, Mark, you have a very unique, shall I say, opinion about marketing and who marketing should report to.
Yes, I do. Now I'm gonna back up the bus here in just a second, but I believe that marketing should report to sales. Whoa, he dropped the mic. We all go home, and here's why. In traditional B2B sales, marketing is the macro. Marketing sets the awareness, generates education, et cetera, et cetera. But the sales is the micro. They're the ones who actually have to deliver. So marketing has got to deliver to sales. Now, my background is in consumer packaged goods, big brand names, whether it be Coca-Cola, whether it be Kraft, et cetera, et cetera. Now, in those cases, marketing is actually going to drive it, and sales is going to report to marketing because that's a different type of transaction. But by and large, the world with which we work in, it's B2B. So yes, marketing reports to sales.
How do we make that happen? I mean, it's because most companies are not set up that way. So how do you make that happen?
Well, you've got to, if you have a CMO and a CRO, hey, these 2 players have got to get along. But here's what I find. Chief Revenue Officer, hold it, Chief Revenue. What do I take to the bottom line of my P&L? Am I taking, money, which starts with revenue on the top line? Marketing fees that. So I want my CMO reporting into my CRO.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So it's. I mean, I could go off on this one for hours.
That's another 8 hours.
Why do salespeople have marketing? Well, so they have someone to blame when they don't make their numbers at the end of the quarter. I'm sorry, we got to get past that one.
TheSalesHunter.com is your website. It's Mark Hunter on LinkedIn and Mark James Hunter on Facebook. And we're just about out of time. Lee, I'm going to give you the final question.
Okay, so the question I thought you were going to ask, Mark, which is another topic that it's a stupid topic. I'm just going to forewarn the audience right now that you and I talk about frequently, is that, Mark, you were senior sales planning manager, I think, for Jell-O brand.
Yes.
The question I thought Audrey was going to ask is, what the heck ever happened to the Jell-O pudding pop? And do you know anybody that can get it brought back?
You know what? I have no idea. That was like a generation ago. Pudding pops.
I love those.
I mean, I'll tell you what. That was in a. If you think, stop thinking about this. That product, Jell-O brand, made more money because let me tell you something. The cost of ingredients, zero. I mean, like maybe 2 cents. It was, but Jell-O pudding pops and that was a great business.
We were lamenting that while we were waiting for you to come in the Zoom room. So it's okay. Glad you asked, Lee. All right, now we know. Anybody else out there listening? There's your answer.
There you go. Well, the short answer is this: because of refrigeration, because of frozen. I suppose you're talking about the frozen product.
Yeah, the ice cream. Yeah.
It just no longer became financially viable. to other businesses that lived in that arena, and that's all he made. The ice cream companies, etc. We were not an ice cream company, so we were riding on somebody else's.
You were
truck.
in the refrigerator on a shelf in a box, not necessarily in the freezer. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, because our margins on the box were incredible. So all this other stuff over here was very low margin to us. So we never gave it much respect. I better not go further than that, even though I haven't been there in 20 years.
But there's a sales lesson in that, right?
There is a sales lesson. There's a sales lesson in there of stay focused, stay in your lane, and focus on that which brings you the profit. And that's where it is. So I mean, that's what we did. That little tiny box, a little 2-inch, 3-inch box, whatever it was. That's what made us $1 gazillion. Those pudding pops over there, that made us pennies at best. I don't have time to spend resources over there.
Makes sense. Mark, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure speaking with you today. Everybody, I encourage you to go. He's got a fantastic website, thesaleshunter.com. You can get the books on there, watch videos. You've got a blog. It's a beautiful website, Mark. I hope everybody visits.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more great information at salesfuel.com.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.